Hello, everybody. I'm trying to get my overlay to work. Welcome to the
Let's say
show.
your overlay went away.
Yeah, I know. This is
Gosh,
so.
that's what
awesome.
happens when you start a pod. I'm looking at episode 3. We're starting all over.
All right. Is it? There we go. Here we go.
Welcome to Rewind Fast Forward with D&D, where David and Dwaine rewind a season, knowing the fast forward.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to our all-new D&D. Hey, you know what? We're starting all over anyway, right?
Okay.
It's episode 3 of our new podcast, and
Take 65.
Yeah, and we're like on 310 on our other one, so we're pretty experienced on that one. Anyway, hello everybody, and welcome to our all new D&D podcast, Rewind Fast Forward with D&D. See, David? Apparently my whole family's in the other room listening to me talk. Before we get into that, a few introductions are needed. My name is Dwaine, and I am here with my best friend, David. Hello, David.
Hello, Dwaine. How's it going, buddy?
Man, I had a rough night, but, I'm on the show with you, and that always cheers me up.
You know what? Stranger things have happened.
Sometimes I feel kind of upside down in my life.
Hey, a little trust would be nice right now. Okay,
that's right. Oh, and I'm hoping my family will go get me a Monster drink.
Well, if they're still applauding, they're not going anywhere.
How many more puns can we get in, or whatever? Whatever it's called. For those of you who do not know us, you are getting a taste already of what our show will be like. David and I started podcasting together back in January of 2012, David. That's over 5 years ago.
It's been 5 years.
I know. With Survivor Talk with D&D. We love that show, Survivor. We love talking about it. So we decided to start a podcast. We did.
In fact, Dwaine is also a professional voiceover person, as you can tell.
As you can tell. Well, David, though, we like more shows than just Survivor, don't we?
We love shows and movies.
That's right. And we like to talk about them. But we decided to do something a little different. But that's why we started this podcast, Rewind Fast Forward with D&D, so we could tackle shows one season at a time instead of like as we're watching it, but more so after we watched it and realized this show is worthy of us going back, right? And going back and talking about it.
Yeah, because we're promoting this as a podcast for you to listen to so that you can catch up on a show before you watch the next season. But really it's for us to watch the show again and re-talk, because we haven't really talked about the season in depth. We did a couple podcasts before. That's why this is 3, where we talked about it. We talked about it with Cass from Survivor, and we just kept going on and on about everything. We didn't really dig into it. So we're going to dig into it over a series of weeks and really talk about each episode. But like the title says, we're going to talk about the episode, but we're also going to talk about how it relates to future episodes, because we've seen the show. So if you haven't seen the show, stop right now and go watch the show.
Yeah, that's right. Which, kind of drove me crazy as I was watching it. See, I've only watched it once. And so I'm watching it again, like 9 months after I watched it. So I'm watching it. I'm going, I know that references something.
This is my 5th time watching it.
Wow.
The 2nd and 3rd and 4th were with other people because I wanted to watch it with them and get their experience. But I actually picked up something I did not see. Yes, exactly. So that's cool.
I can't get Connie to watch it. In fact, the other night I was watching it 2 nights ago. I was watching episode 1, chapter 1. And there was some really weird stuff going on. She goes, Dwaine, is that an appropriate show? I said, Connie, it's Stranger Things. Isn't that like about like scary things? She wasn't like that. But.
It's for the podcast. Oh, okay. Good luck.
Yeah. All right. Well, remember, people are listening to you. That's the idea. Anyway. Exactly.
People are listening. In fact, families listen and workers listen because they can play our podcast at work. We are family friendly. We are G+ rated.
Yeah, probably PG.
Yeah. PG. Okay. Yeah. But yes, we're family friendly, so you can listen to us at work. And we actually ask you to listen to us at work because it gets more people to listen.
Yeah, really loudly. Like, I don't know where that's coming from,
but I like it.
Yeah, like, like set up a Bluetooth speaker like 20 feet away and turn on the show.
That's right. Take us to work with you.
Oh, man. All right. So we chose season 1 of Stranger Things. That's what we did. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. It's on iTunes and Stitcher right now. iHeartRadio will not take it yet until we have been an actual show for a couple of months. So, but you can go on iTunes and Stitcher. Go ahead and subscribe, and you'll get it. You'll get it every Saturday morning. If you're a patron, you'll get it on the patron feed early, but that's another time, another story later on. So, and give us, one of those positive reviews. And if you don't like us, then just move on and don't worry about giving us a review. Right? Just kind of
sure. Why not? Be honest. Yeah. That's right.
So let's get started, David. We got chapters 1 and 2. And we'll start with chapter 1. And before we even say anything, by the way, my notes are over here. So you'll see me go like this.
Not a problem.
Because if I put them here, I won't see you, which you don't care about that either. But anyway, right off the bat, what happened when I finally watched Lost, right? Because you kept telling me to watch Lost after I made fun of it. Now, that's not what happened here, but I was a late adopter of Stranger Things. Right. Mm-hmm. Everyone else was talking about it. It was all over Twitter. It was all over Facebook. And I was like, yeah, if everybody's watching it, I don't want to watch it. I'm kind of one of I don't wear Christmas clothes until like a month later. Yeah. I don't like walking around and people going, oh, you got that for Christmas, that kind of stuff. And I know it's really weird, but
it is.
So do you know? Okay. So what happened with Lost? When did I get hooked on Lost?
I gave you this. Wait a minute. I gave you the same challenge a friend gave me because I was late to Lost too. He said, dude, just watch the opening scene. If you don't like the opening scene, you won't like the rest of the season. Fine. Yeah. So after I'd watched the whole first season, I told Dwaine, just watch the first scene. Yeah. And if you don't like the first scene, you won't like the show.
And you did that with Stranger Things too. You had already watched the whole show, the whole season. You didn't bother to go, hey, Dwaine, you should check out Stranger Things. No, you just kept watching.
After chapter 4, I said I should probably tell Dwaine. And then it was chapter 5. After chapter 6, I couldn't leave my laptop. After chapter 7, I'm like, I might as well finish it. After chapter 8, I should probably tell Dwaine now about this show. So,
and it was 2 o'clock in the morning.
Was it?
No. But
I have no idea.
No. So here's when I was hooked. Okay. Well, with Lost, I was hooked at the first commercial. Actually, I was hooked when they had the crash.
Yes.
Right. Because then I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen Lost, there's a plane crash.
Oh, sorry. If you haven't seen Lost, where have you been the last 11 years?
I was hooked when Jack ran out of the woods to the beach and saw the mass hysteria. That's why I was hooked on Lost. But yeah.
All right. But
we are not going back
to Lost season 1.
That's right.
So when that scientist got grabbed from the elevator and at the same time, the big sound from the music, which is wonderful, I was like, I'm going to like this show. That's when I was hooked right then. Wow. What a great opening scene.
I was hooked a few minutes later, but yeah, he broke the rule of running away from something bad. When you come through a secure door, you don't leave the door open. You lock the door. Really? Of course, he's probably scared of that than running for his life. So
I think I can outrun this monster from another realm.
and he gets in the famous escape hatch that everybody goes for, the elevator, the slowest device ever created by man to get into for the elevator.
Yeah. You thought elevator doors were slow at the hospital or wherever you get on them. Yeah. They're really slow when a monster's chasing you.
Yeah. Especially in a lab in the middle of the night when nobody else is working. That's when they're the slowest. But I love the sound that it made, because at first I thought it was a transformer, and then I realized it was more like a Jurassic Park sound.
It's like a
that.
Yeah,
I can't even. Yeah, oh, so good.
Oh, you know what it was?
What?
They immediately went to the sprinkler.
Yeah,
same rhythm, same everything as the monster,
but it was a different sound.
Well, I know
different
that
tone. Gotcha.
No, the timbre was exactly the same. Of course, it wasn't the same. But you go from. Are we going to call this thing a monster, or are we going to call it? I got
Monster and It. I got Monster and It for now.
Okay.
As the show progresses.
Well,
but because the monster wasn't spitting, that's why I didn't think it was the same sound. I'm just kidding. It's like, they call it a monster. I don't know what they call it. Different things throughout.
Well, I'm going to call it a monster for now. But I think it is the what's it called? The Demogorgon. It's
compared.
Demogorgon.
It's compared to the Demogorgon. Yeah.
Yeah, because 11 later on in the show, they say, Mike says, is he running from bad men? And she said no, and then she pulled out the Demogorgon and put it right beside him
to reference the beast. Yeah, the monster.
Yeah.
To reference. She didn't know what it was, but exactly to reference it. She put a monster out there.
She knew it was something bad.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, that's later on. But so that first scene hooked me. By the way, you know how we were never really 100% sure of how old we were. I was 14 years old and in 9th grade. When not like where this is set November 6th, 1983. And I was 14 years old in the 9th grade.
83. So I had just turned.
You would have been like 16.
16. Exactly.
So you were driving. You were like Steve.
Yeah.
You were the player.
Just like Steve.
Just like Steve. Oh, man. Okay, yeah, I even put down the monster sound is awesome, and it has the same rhythm as the speaker.
Yes.
And later on with the bicycle, whenever Will falls off jumps off the bike or whatever, and I don't remember how he got off the bike, but anyway, and the spokes on the wheel.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
See, that's you. You are the sound guy. You pick up all that stuff.
Yeah. But see, I'm
not just running. I'm just running for my life. Getting in elevators, trying to get away.
Oh man, there was a couple times. I mean, it's been 9 months. I didn't remember. And you see the monster, and I'm like, ah.
So the scene that got me was the next scene at Mike's house with the D&D game. And like I said, in the previous podcast, I talked about how I played it before and the situations I've been through. So I thought that was really cool. But what I liked about this scene was from start to outside his garage on the bikes, it is a nonstop, fast-paced, line for line scene. And I love that in movies and TV shows where they do that. And it almost feels uncut, but I know it's got different angles. But it's just nonstop dialogue, nonstop movement. It's just really, really done well. And you get to know all the kids right away. You get to see what they're like. And I just love that scene. That's the scene that hooked me.
Oh, really? Well,
I'm not a horror guy.
Yeah, well, it's a great scene. And basically, all they were missing was a little sister, and it's E.T.
Yeah, she just wasn't in the scene yet.
Yeah, well, that's an older sister, but
well, there's a little sister, but she just wasn't
a little sister saying beep, and then you got E.T. But okay, so they're playing, and I love it when the Demogorgon comes out, and they totally freak out. I mean, this is like you are actually really doing this. I've never played Dungeons and Dragons, so can you relate to this, David?
Absolutely. Yeah, I talked about this in the last one, but it's really down to the Dungeon Master, because the Dungeon Master in this episode was Mike. It's up to their creativity. And if you go back and watch Big Bang Theory, even if you Google on YouTube Big Bang Theory D&D, you can probably see the episode where Howard is the Dungeon Master, and he does all of his impersonations. And he just creates all these characters, Al Pacino, Nicolas Cage, and all these voices. So it's up to the creativity of the Dungeon Master to create how they go through the game.
Right. Well, how do you not get mad at the Dungeon Master when he does something like pull out a Demogorgon that's going to basically wipe out the whole game and end it?
Because if you get mad, he'll pull out 12 Demogorgons. The game will be over.
Well, do people ever leave the game just mad at everybody and just furious? Probably so, I would think.
Yeah, but you wouldn't get invited back. So that's just what the secret, not the secret. The act of the game is reaction. What do you do? What do you use? And Will was up front when the Demogorgon came out. Yeah. So that's why it was on him to make the first attack.
Right. All right. This is the scene. This is the scene where we get a glimpse of the personalities of these boys.
Exactly. Right?
So Will is the kid about to be snagged, but he's, as you see later on, he's I'm going to protect all of y'all before myself. Right. He was willing to, I think it's later on, I wrote down, he was willing to, instead of throw a fireball or something, which would have protected him, he was going to roll the dice and try to get that 13.
Right.
Which nobody told him dice only go up to 6.
Yeah, and Dustin was saying protection spell. No, he's got a D&D dice. I should have brought mine. There's like 25-sided dice. Yes. Yeah. But Dustin's saying protection spell, and Will's like, what you just said. No, I'm going to go for it. Throw myself in front of it and see if I can stop it.
Yeah. Now this is when I still liked Lucas. Right. Lucas is pretty cool in this episode. I mean, in this scene. Later on, he annoys the heck out of me. So we don't get a really good glimpse of who he is yet.
Yeah.
Dustin, my favorite character. Oh,
he's meant to be. He's the comic relief.
Yeah, he's the comic relief. And then you got Mike, who is the analytical, this is what we're going to do. He's also very caring.
The planner, the organizer, yes.
Right, planner and organizer. Later on, we see how caring he is and how uncaring Lucas is and how just like whatever Dustin is.
see, I don't necessarily agree that Lucas is bad later on. And I know you don't mean bad. I just meant not your favorite character. But Lucas was a realist, but in a very harsh way. Dustin is a realist, but in a very comical way.
Right.
In a very childlike way. To me, Lucas is almost the more mature one, but he reacts so quickly, whereas Mike's the thinker. Mike wants to think things out. His thing on Finding 11 was, what about Will? We might get Will with this person. Let's don't just turn him in and take him back to a nut farm. To me, that's Lucas was a quick reactor. So yeah.
Lucas reacts before he thinks. He's like Mike on Lost. Mike irritated me for the same exact reason. He would just go off the handle for no reason, just assume the worst. And Lucas seems to do that. And he's so, but like you said with our Cass episode, he's so focused on finding Will. That's his number one focus. 11, which we'll get to in a little bit, but 11 is a roadblock in the way to getting Will. Mm-hmm. And not until he thinks that she can be something else does he kind of warm up to her.
Right.
For a little bit.
You're right. She's an obstacle.
Yeah. 10 hours, David. 10 hours they were playing Dungeons and Dragons.
No, I've never played D&D for 10 hours.
This is like Timothy coming out of his room at 10 at night. And I go, I didn't even know you were home. Last time I saw you was like breakfast. I thought you went somewhere. And he goes, no, we've been playing NHL or baseball or something. 10 hours on your PS4?
If my game went for 3 hours, there better be pizza coming in the door somewhere. Right.
Oh, man. And then, of course, Dustin, the ladies' man.
This is a great setup. He's so funny. It's just because you can see the idea hit him when he looks at the pizza and nobody wants it. He's like, oh, Nancy,
now's my chance.
And this is great because it sets up her thoughts, her ideas about the boys.
Right.
Not even a verbal response, just a door slam in the face.
Yeah. Which she wasn't that way just a couple of years ago.
No.
Because now she's gone through that stage of life where you start to be mean to your little siblings.
Yeah, that's another podcast. So
yeah, which we're not going to do.
We are never going to do.
Yeah. So we get a little taste of what's going on in her life, just a little bit, which we'll get to in a little bit. But then so Will is the honest one. He tells Mike that it was a 7.
I know, but I like Lucas's thought before that. If Mike didn't see it, it never happened.
Right. Exactly.
That's how you play. If the Dungeon Master doesn't see it, it never happens.
Is the 7 good? Did Mike see it? No. Well, then it's okay. Then no, we didn't roll a 7. Yeah. Yeah. That's like, hey, the policeman didn't see me driving 100. So anyway. That's right. So how in the world, if you're racing, so Dustin Apparently, Lucas lives closer, which we hear later. But Dustin and Will are racing down the road, down a hill, mind you. And Dustin gets worn out and out of breath at the bottom of the hill.
He is not in shape. And you know what's even worse is that Will had to catch up because Will was still at the garage talking to Mike when they took off. So Will had to catch up and then outrace him.
Yeah. But, like you coast down a hill.
well, apparently Will wanted X-Men 134 more than Dustin wanted to keep it. So,
all right.
And
so
let me just tell you real quick.
Yeah,
please. You know me and Marvel.
Oh yeah, the whole
X-Men 134. Yes, it's the episode of the Dark Phoenix, and it's where Mastermind is tinkering with Jean Grey and her mind because she's one of the highest ranked Inhumans or superheroes, whatever. Her class is really higher than Professor X and Magneto, and Mastermind tinkers with her mind, and he accidentally unleashes the Dark Phoenix. The Dark Phoenix comes out, pins Mastermind to the wall, episode 8 of Stranger Things, and beats the mess out of him. Episode 8, Stranger Things. So there is a comparison of that issue to this TV show. Okay, well, does the whole comic book parallel the show, or is it just that? No, just that particular issue 134. It's just where a different part of the Phoenix comes out of Jean Grey comes out and attacks the brother. Well, this is where I freaked out. Now, I mean, I'm not a big scary movies. To me, are the kind that are suspenseful, right? Mm-hmm. But every once in a while, you throw a monster in the middle of a road that looks like his limbs are 3 times as long as they should be. Yeah. And you throw that in with an orchestral hit. Mm-hmm. And I kind of jumped. Yeah, I did. Well, see, I'm like I said, I'm not the horror fan. So once he starts going down a dark road by himself late at night, I get into protective mode. Yeah. Do you really? You do this? I do a little. Yeah. Come in. Where's the fast forward? I'm a like 30 this. Seconds. First of all, you take off the glasses. Oh, look, it's all blurry. And then there's it's just a shadow. Yeah. But not in this show, but like in some other, like if I'm watching. No, and it's a good thing I didn't in this time through because, like I said, I'm about to see things that I did not catch the first time. And this is where we get the wheel turning again, and it's the same rhythm as the monster. So Will sees it, freaks, and crashes into the woods. That's how he gets off the bike. Right. Okay, this is crazy. Can you imagine how scared Will is? No, because don't know where I would be. I'd be passed out somewhere at this point. I don't know if I could even run. I think that I would be like, okay, I know I can't outrun this monster with 40-foot legs. So I'm just going to go hide behind a tree and hope. And then, of course, I would die. No, just run into the dark woods. Oh, of course. What was I thinking? Yeah, but he's going home. Yeah, I was going to say, these woods he probably knows because it's leading back towards his house. He gets in the house. Looks out the window. Okay. So this is what I didn't catch the first time. So I'm trying to remember where I watched it the second, third, and fourth time because when he looks back over his bike at the street, here it comes. Yeah. You see it. I kind of remember that. When he gets in the house, like you were just saying, he looks out through the clothes that are hanging out at night, which shows how busy his mom is that she can't get clothes in before the nighttime. But you see it walking through the clothes. I know. I did not remember that from the last time I watched it. I swear I've never seen that before. And I've probably got to the point where when I was watching it second, third, and fourth time with somebody, I just wasn't paying attention. So I just forgot, but you actually see it walk through the clothes. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. Chills. So he's freaking out, and then of course, what happens? All the lights start doing all kinds of crazy things. Yep. He tries to get on the phone, right? And he doesn't get a signal. It's static, right? The phone's not working. Sees the alien through the front window. You run outside to the shed. I mean, where else are you going to go? Right? Well, there's also a weapon out there. I mean, it's another secure facility. It's not secure. It's a wooden shed. If you call a 22 a weapon against this thing, then there's a weapon out there. Now, what's interesting is we don't see the door slammed open. We don't know if we see it later in the episode with the sheriff, but we don't see if Will did it or the monster did it. I presume Will did it.
Okay, but where did they go? Is there a portal in the shed?
There has to be, because that's where the monster came out.
Oh, so wait. Yeah. So that would mean there's a portal in the house also.
No, I believe it. Well, did it even come in the house? It unlocked the door, but we never saw it come in the house. We saw it. We didn't see it again until it just stood up in the shed.
Yeah.
But when Brenner goes back later in the shed, Dr. Brenner is there with his meters. He sees the ooze, the slime on the shed wall.
Right. But that doesn't mean that okay. What I'm saying is, I think somehow he got in the shed, which means there's either a portal very nearby, and he went out and came back in the shed, or somehow he got in the shed without Will seeing it.
I'm trying to remember what Hopper saw when he was in the shed. He saw those boxes and broken things.
Oh, yeah. He was definitely looking in that area.
It came through the back of the shed.
Yeah, maybe so.
We should know this.
But how do you not hear that?
I don't know, but he heard it when he stood up.
I'm just saying, if you're going to say, no, he came through a portal, then I'm going to say, well, then how did he get into the upside down world to get back in the right side up world?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he just came into the back of the shed.
My son is calling me in the middle of a podcast. What is up with that?
I have no idea. He wants to know. They don't have red, so they wants to know.
I'm going to mute one, see what he wants, and you can talk about the shed.
Keep going. We go to the next season. Well, the shed's pretty empty. He gets the gun, he loads it with the bullets, and doesn't even get a shot off. It stands up behind him. So the next scene opens on the sheriff. And to look at the scene, to look at where the scene opens, you kind of would hope that it's not a law enforcement member. It's there's beer cans everywhere, things all over the floor. Right, you're hoping that this is not an important person that you're waking up to in this trailer.
Which one? Oh, yeah,
with the drinks everywhere and somebody shirtless and asleep on the sofa, and you're like, "Ooh, who is this guy?" Oh, wait a minute. 5 minutes later, you say, "He is the sheriff."
Yeah,
he's putting on a gun.
Yeah, you're thinking it's a hungover guy, and you're very shocked when he puts the teeth thing on.
But we do learn in this scene, it starts with a picture hand drawn of a couple and a little girl. So we know there's somebody in his life, but by looking at this trailer, you're guessing they're not in his trailer. Right. They might have been in his life, but they're not in his trailer. So
right. And looking on the fast forward, what's going on later, we understand that he is still dealing with the loss of his daughter and then the loss of his wife.
Yeah, I don't. Oh, yeah, because the lady tells the teacher it's only a few years ago that he lost his daughter.
So he's still dealing with it. And he lived in the city when that happened, right?
Yeah.
And we know that now, but so that helps the scene, Doesn't he go out and like look over a beautiful scene? He's got a great view. It's kind of like I came here to escape, but I'm not completely escaped because sometimes I use alcohol as my escape.
Yeah.
Which is never a good thing.
I agree that I think it happened in the city because him telling the teacher later that she lives in the city with her mom is him saying that's where she stayed or that's where she was. Right. But what he misses when he turns around to come back in the trailer, he misses the monster dragging Will across the grass in the back. No. I'm telling you, I saw so many things this time.
Wow. Like he turns around and the monster flies through the air. Oh, wait, no, that's Harry Potter. Sorry, I forgot.
That's right.
That's the wrong
monster. Another show we're not.
Yeah. No, just because it's, that'd be, oh, man. Well, that's movie talk with D&D.
20 years too late.
I just realized we're going to have to get new ones of these, but we don't have any money to do that. So we're not going to do that.
No.
All right. So Joyce and Jonathan, she gets the, oh man, poor Jonathan.
That's what I wrote. I wrote poor Jonathan. He's making breakfast while she's lost.
Yeah. And then not only that, but she's like, it's your responsibility. You're not supposed to work whenever I'm not home. Will, then she goes in and Will's missing. And then later on in the show, it's not your fault, Jonathan. And I'm like, Jonathan, like, oh, really? Well, then why'd you say that earlier?
What were you doing, Jonathan? Just trying to earn some money for the family.
Yeah.
Well, your brother's whereabouts are more important, which is true. But at the same time, I don't think she can stay mad at anybody. She tries and then goes back and forth. But yeah, she's in a rush, constant in a rush. It looks like she's late, but you kind of get a sense of that home.
Right.
It's obviously just Jonathan, big brother, little brother, and mom.
Right. But you know what? As soon as she realizes Will is gone, work is out of the question.
Yeah.
Where do we find her next? In the chief's office. But we'll get to that in a minute because we have to get to syrup on scrambled eggs, which, by the way, is very good.
Yes, quite amazing.
Get yourself some pancakes, put some scrambled eggs on it, put some syrup on it. That makes me hungry.
You know what else is good?
What?
Chicken and waffles. I had that tonight at Broken Egg.
Really?
Oh, wow. Yeah, she had a Groupon. So we went out to celebrate our dating anniversary. And it was a brand new dish, chicken and waffles.
Today's your dating anniversary.
Actually, it was yesterday, but we're within 24 hours.
I was going to say, no wonder your wife said, really, you're podcasting on Thursday? I had something else planned, David.
Yes, exactly.
And you're like, well, sorry, it's got to be a day early.
So who had syrup on their eggs?
Mike.
Oh, we're still not.
Well, I mean, the Joyce and Jonathan thing only lasted that very brief moment.
Oh, okay. No. I didn't know they showed breakfast that early. I thought it was a different scene next.
No, and then because what happens is, well, it's kind of an intertwined scene because Joyce calls
that's right.
Mike's mom looking for Will, and in the background we see Nancy like, ooh, gross, and when he's putting stuff on it, and that just that was kind of a background thing that I noticed. Because I like syrup on scrambled eggs. And so I noticed that. But then we get a little hint that Will is very smart, goes to school early often, This is not a surprise to anybody. So whenever they do get to school, which is where we are now, when they get to school, they're like, I thought he would have been here.
Yeah.
Right. And that's before we get to the Goonies moment.
So nothing alarms them yet. No.
Yeah. Do you have anything else before we get to the Goonies moment?
Is that the freak show?
No, that's the Dustin Zarb thing.
Yeah. No. Go ahead. That's all I got till that.
Well, it's kind of like like in Goonies, they make him do the flubber dance or whatever it's called.
Yeah. Oh, outside the gate. Yeah, he's got to do the dance.
And in this one, they get Dustin to do which really isn't. It's just gross sounding. It's nothing else.
Yeah.
But my favorite line. Yeah, but what was it?
Mike calls it. Mike says, "Oh, it's like a superpower." He goes, "Yeah, but I can't fight evil with it."
Yes, I can't fight evil with this.
I wrote down. This is like in our Survivor podcast. If there's a great line at Tribal Council, we write it down. I wrote down several of Dustin lines in my notes for these 2 episodes.
Yeah, he's great. And then we unfortunately have to see Barb. Okay. I'm sorry, but Barb is really hard to watch. Can she wear pants? Are there any other pair of pants in the world that would make her look bigger than those pants?
But you are upsetting a large multitude of people right now. Barb has a huge following.
I know, and I don't understand that. Why does
I'm going to explain it to you. Let me explain it to you. Here's the deal. Do you ever watch a movie or TV show where you relate to a character like, that's kind of me? That's kind of who I would be in this story. No, I'm not saying Barb. I'm saying in general, somebody that would fit you or you could play. I think Barb is the second fiddle. She is not the prettiest. She's not the athlete. She's not the prom queen. She's the friend. Right. And I think a lot of people that watch this happen to be the friend. They relate to Barb because she's a friend. It's nothing about her looks or her clothes, which are a case unto themselves.
Like, yeah, she wears these really frumpy clothes. It's like, yeah.
But she's the friend. And I think that's why a lot of people relate to Barb as the friend.
But, they did do this on purpose. It's not like I'm being terribly mean. They did this on purpose.
Yes.
Right? Obviously, Nancy and her have been friends for a long time, right? Yeah. Nancy developed into Nancy and Barb developed into Barb.
Right.
And they're just different. And now Steve likes Nancy, which is a threat to Barb, and, she's like, well, don't you start hanging around with all their friends? Because what is Barb thinking? Once you go with Steve, I'm left behind.
Right. And Steve is the popular guy. You're next on Steve's list because Steve's been with so many other girls.
Yeah.
So suddenly Steve has chosen Natalie.
Yeah.
Nancy.
You are his person. He so much wants to be with you that he's willing to have me hang around.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
That's like later on in the show, his long strategy worked. you know.
Right.
Hey, welcome, Barb. Only because he knows that that's going to make Nancy happy.
It's a package deal, right?
Right.
And then they make out. Then they make out in the bathroom. So
yeah, what the heck? I mean, really?
I can honestly say I never made out with a girl in the girls' bathroom.
But you know what? I bet a lot of high schoolers do.
So I'm not relating to Steve.
No, I'm not either.
At all.
And see, I was never a player like that. But I mean, you know.
Yeah, you were.
I was not.
Oh,
not in high school. Wait, never. I mean, never.
Ever.
Never. And then, you know, why is Steve? Okay, so the reason why Steve's interested in her is because it's kind of fun to go after the girl that people wouldn't expect him to go after, right? And he wants to see
pretty,
if
she's smart. She's not like the other girls.
Yeah. Can he?
Because he has other words for them.
Yeah.
Not her.
Can he? Whatever. Can he conquer her?
Yes.
Yeah. So, oh well. I love Chief Hopper in the morning.
I do too. I like that he comes in and he hears all these things as he's walking through. He hears about the gnome thievery. He hears about the other thing going on and all this stuff. And all he does is he just moves a card,
right,
for his little employee, sets it to the side, and I just want my coffee and contemplation. That's right. All I care about. This is Hawkins, Indiana. Nothing worth my immediate attention happens in Hawkins, Indiana.
Right. Much like which movie?
Jaws. Is this a Stephen King movie? Jaws.
Right. Remember, he goes into the office and it's like, I've got a fence broken, such and such called about this, such and such called about this.
Kids are knocking over mailboxes.
Right. Kids are knocking over mailboxes, things like that. It reminded me of Jaws.
Oh, yeah. Great analogy.
But just to then, and then, he goes into the office and there's Joyce, who's upset with him because she's been there for 6 hours.
Yes.
Apparently she got there at 3 a.m, but I don't think she's 6 hours, but
this to me is one of my likable moments in writing and filming. And because I love movies, I love TV, I like to edit stuff mentally. They go straight to the missing persons report. We don't need the chit chat. We don't need the how you doing, good to see you. We go straight to the boom, boom, boom typing of the missing persons report. I love that. Which
he's doing reluctantly.
Yes, he is.
He's like, look, 99 out of 100. It's just. She's like, yeah, but what about the other one?
Exactly.
Which is what I'd be saying.
Yeah. Especially
she knows her kid.
Yeah. So we never got established that they had any relationship.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm asking. We were kind of left to think, yeah, they must have done something, but we never had anything confirmed, right?
Well, Will's probably his kid. No, that wouldn't be the case because 2 years ago he was in the city. So.
That's right.
But yeah, they definitely had something going on.
Yeah. My mom thought I was on the debate team when I was actually in the back of my car.
Oh, that's horrible.
With a friend. I know.
Yeah, that was kind of horrible. But yeah, I put that first hint of their previous relationship. Yeah. Oh yeah, because she's like my ex. He'll talk to me before he'll talk to you.
Yeah.
And then later on, we get a little hint of that as well. All right.
I love how I just liked how Joyce set up who Will was. He's sensitive. He's not like that. He's not like other kids. He gets bullied about his clothes. His dad would call him names. But at the same time, Will's got a little bit more to him than she gives him credit for. But she is the mother. She is the worrying, and I completely understand as a parent. But I love that doesn't quite know all the aspects of Will.
Right.
Will's got a little bit more fight in him, which we learn later on.
Sure. And, to be fair to the chief, a lot of parents think they know their kids, which is what he says, right? You think you know your kid, but what if you don't, So how about that laboratory? Are you ready to move on to the laboratory?
Yeah, I got a question. I thought the floating ashes meant we were in the upside down, but it's not in this case.
Weird. Yeah. I was kind of wondering, what are they? And
or is it because they're so close to a portal? Because later on, when Nancy goes in that tree, there's no ashes outside that tree. I don't think.
No,
I think it's just a tree. So
but that portal is like this,
true,
right? And the portal in that room is like this is like 1,000 times larger. So it's perfectly practical. It's perfectly logical to think that the ashes make it out of that huge thing. And so you're kind of in a crossover between Upside Down and
I wonder if it well, I would say I wonder if it relates to the last time the monster went through there, but the monster drags an animal through that tree, so he was just there too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But these guys might as well be naked, because a hazmat suit ain't gonna do nothing for you.
We call them bunny suits at the hospital, but that is a hazmat suit.
I've seen the monster, and that ain't gonna help.
But they have guns. They have bunny suits and guns.
Yeah. But you know why they had to look like that? Because they look like the ET guys.
Exactly, contamination. That's right.
Yeah,
I like how it ends. Matthew Modine is great in this albino white-haired role because his lines are very short, very direct, and he says, "This is where it came from," and they said yes. And he says, "The girl," and they said, "She can't have gone far." New character. Who is this?
Who's the girl?
Because going into this the very first time, I did not know anything about this show. Obviously, I heard it was really good, and people are like, "Why haven't I seen this before?" And I'm like, "Cool." So I had no idea who the girl was. This is interesting. And then we get bad dad of the year.
Hello, of the entire century. Not only does he put her all through this, but here he calls her the girl.
Yes,
we know it's his daughter. We know on the fast forward it's his daughter. And yet he calls her the girl.
I wonder if they said they didn't have time for him to say, "What about my adopted daughter, real daughter, whose name is 11 that I call 11, who we tattooed 11? Where could she be?" I wonder if they just X'd out that line and said, "Just say the girl." It's too early for all that.
But it's also just as quick to say, "Where's my daughter?"
What about my daughter?
Yeah. What about my daughter?
But that's too much information.
Yeah. Well, I know that
he didn't have the fast forward.
Well,
so you're right.
But I'm not saying that they wanted us to know that, I'm saying that as we look forward, we realize, looking back, that that's his daughter.
Yeah.
And he cares about her so little that he calls her the girl. I mean, to me, that's just like, it just shows, to him, she's just an experiment.
Right.
So, but when this is a little fun fact, when the camera focused on the slime, the closed captioning said squelching. So I looked up, what exactly is squelching? It's a soft sucking sound, such as that made by walking heavily through mud.
So it's like a squeak and a belch. It's like a squeak and a belch.
Right.
So I got you, Welch.
I am a happy man.
You are indeed a happy man.
Because I needed this. Had a stressful night.
So while you're opening up that
comfort food.
So can we move on to the character I relate to?
Wait, hold on. Let's see. What is all the stuff floating around this? That's one scary looking door, by the way, to the upside down world.
Now, I wrote tentacles, roots. What are those things? I'm not sure what those things were.
I don't know. Well, wait. What if it was the other side of the tree? No. Forget it. That was a stupid thing. Forget it. Sorry.
The tree.
Yeah. Everybody in the podcast world just went, seriously, cut it off. And then I went, wait, sorry. They went, okay. All right. We'll give you another shot.
He pulled it back.
Yeah. Okay. Considering, well, I'm not even going to tell you why that was so stupid. If you don't know why it's so stupid, then.
So would you like to go on to the next scene?
Well, actually, where's the girl? And then saying she can't go on far goes right to the girl. So yeah, go for it.
So the girl shows up in a gown and a shaved head, and I love the fact that they had to talk. Well, she's at the outside of the diner.
I know, but the first thing we see are her feet on some pine nettles.
Oh, okay, I forgot about
that. Hello,
she's barefoot. She's barefoot in a gown. I love that they got her to shave her head by telling her that Charlize Theron did it for Mad Max. That's how they got her.
Really?
Yes. She didn't want to do it. She's got locks of curly hair, and they're like, "We want you to shave your head." She's like, And then they said, "Look at what she did for Mad Max," and she's like, "Okay, I'll do it."
And then they go, "You realize that you're on a TV show,
and you don't have a lot of those credits.
Yes, you are getting paid, and if it becomes a success next year, you'll be able to hang it over our heads and get paid whatever you want.
You'll make $25 an episode instead of $5 an episode." That's right.
Yeah. So
So, but it worked. I love the haircut work because people can't tell if it's a boy or girl, and that plays into the story.
Right now, they couldn't pull that off this year, but they pulled it off then. Yes, all of them are going to look a lot older. Well, they're going to look a year older because they filmed it a year later. Yeah. They just happened to get them right before puberty.
So she sees a diner and says, "You know what? I wonder if this is a future spot for Guy Fieri's diners and dives." And it's probably not, but it is an actual place in Georgia. Most of this was shot in Georgia, so that's a real place in Georgia. But goes in the back door to avoid people. She doesn't see anybody. Makes her way in, and I love how she eats these fries. Of course, these are diner fries that were cooked in seasoned grease. Oh, it probably wasn't fresh. Mm-hmm. You know, they're greasy and they're hot, and she picks them up in a mound. They're so greasy and hot. They're stuck together, and she picks them up and eats them like a sandwich. That is how you should eat French fries from a diner.
And then apparently they Jesus must have been there doing the whole 5 loaves of bread thing, because whenever it fell out of her hand, there was like twice as many French fries.
Yeah. It's that's Red Robin's bottomless basket of fries.
Yeah, apparently. And I mean, I like this guy.
This is the guy I relate to. He's heavy. He's got a receding hairline. He likes to cook. He yells at kids quickly, then pulls it back quickly. He takes care of people. This is the guy I relate to, which is why I'm so sad that he doesn't make it through the episode. But anyway.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. By the end of the show, he's got flies walking all over him.
Oh, gosh. Poor Benny.
So
he was my friend.
Yeah. Which, you know, this plays into later because he thinks she's a boy.
Yes.
So later on, and everybody in the diner thinks she's a boy. Which plays along later when Earl, I think it's Earl, is talking to Chief. And then he's like, it was a boy.
Yeah.
So, but I got something to say about that, but I'll say it later.
No, I like how he chases her. He does catch her. But when he turns her around, I'm not sure if he's shocked by her appearance or her face, but something about her makes him stop. And he stops. He doesn't yell anymore. He just looks at her and he lets her go. And it's kind of like the different side of it, the caregiver in him comes out or something. It's just a different side to him. And I like that.
I think he realizes that this isn't a nefarious kid with intent of doing bad things. You know, I mean,
plus, barefoot and gown. Yeah.
Plus the boy's in a gown, like a hospital gown.
Right.
You know, I don't know too many guys that walk around the neighborhood in a hospital gown.
Right.
So especially if
exactly.
Yeah. All right, so they're at school, and the only kids that are listening to the teacher are our 3 kids.
Yes. I love it. I love that he's talking and talking, and they're walking and they're walking.
Yeah.
But then he turns back, and there's the 3 kids.
Well, yeah, they want to see that new ham radio that'll talk to Australia, mate.
Oh man, I wrote the Heathkit Ham Shack.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Think bigger. Texas. Think bigger.
Australia. And then Dusting that's on there. Hello, can you hear me over there in Australia?
I'm the treasurer of the Ham Radio Club.
Yeah. Not only am I part of the Ham Radio Club, I'm the treasurer. And here in this room is the entire Ham Radio Club.
Yeah, really. You've heard of 2/3 of the club already.
Oh, man. And
then before Lucas gets to come in, then we get a school official and the sheriff come in to interview them about Will. Oh, breaking up the fun.
Yep.
But I love Teacher Clark because he's supporting kids that want to learn more and want to grow more. And I love that type of teacher. He was almost, well, if there hadn't have been, I love you too, dear. She's throwing me kisses. If there hadn't have been a monster scene, he unfortunately fits the profile of the first shady person. You know, I've seen
you're
right. Too many serial killer movies. I've seen too many crime stories. He fits the profile. Somebody close to the kids, somebody they trust, you know, but we'd already seen the monster. So good. Mr. Clark's free. He's clear.
Right. So. See, he's one of those good teachers that doesn't care if the cool kids like him. Right.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I want to interact with those kids that really want to learn, and I'm going to help them. Yeah, I'm still going to teach, but those who really want to learn, I'm going to hang around them, and I'm going to go the extra mile and help those kids. I mean, he's a great character.
And he's so cool that he knows these kids have probably asked him every day about this radio.
Oh,
he probably had to go through paperwork in the school to get money to buy it for the school. And he loves this experience so much that he pranked them into making them think it hadn't come in.
Right.
when it had. I mean, he wasn't just, yes, the radio has arrived.
Yeah.
He's like, sorry, boys.
See, they didn't have Amazon tracking back then. By the way, shop Amazon using our links. But they didn't have Amazon tracking back then. Like, for example, I have some new in-ear monitors coming because these are like shot. Right. Mm-hmm. And every day I'm like on there going, okay, where, because they show you the process of where they are in making them.
Yes.
I'm like, oh man, they only did one thing today. You know,
they opened the folder with your request and then they closed the folder.
What? Come on. You know, you're like waiting and waiting. And of course, you know, when they probably had an advantage over us because a week or 2 weeks goes by so quickly. But, you know, if you're looking at it every day, it goes by so slowly.
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. So I love Chief is like not a kid person.
No. Well, he's not a father anymore. And I know that probably doesn't relate, but no, he's a short fused. Come on, let's get through this because this doesn't really happen here. Let's just deal with it. I'm not a morning person.
Right.
I didn't get my contemplation time. I had Joyce Byers sitting in my office as soon as I got there. And I mean, you and I both work in offices. How will we feel walking in on a Monday morning after a long Sunday and there's somebody in our office before we even get to sit down, put down our drink and relax? Because I like to sit in my chair and relax for a second.
Yeah. You mean like the last 3 weeks for me? The last 3 weeks for me has been that way.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But at this point, he doesn't think there's anything going on. He just thinks the kid ran away or something.
He's following the book.
Yeah. Right. Otherwise, he wouldn't have all three of them in there in the same time anyway.
Right.
And I love these kids. They're arguing over something which is so insignificant in front of him. It's like Mirkwood. That's a reference to Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit. Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit. You know. Go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, Mirkwood's what we call the road. It's actually Randolph or Maple or whatever they call the road.
Right. And then Chief says, don't go looking for him. Yeah, right.
Go home right after school. Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. By the way, is this where we get her going to the fort?
Yes. First flashback that we don't know is a flashback until we see Will.
Which Lost did that too. Well, no, because we knew it was a flashback. But what kind of mom takes her 10-year-old son to see Poltergeist? And if you're one of those moms,
my mom.
Okay, I don't understand why you take your 10-year-old to go see Poltergeist.
I'll tell you why. You want to know why? Because he asked her to. Because he was excited and she finally broke down because she probably hadn't been home. She tells us later she has not been the mom she wanted to be, yada, yada.
Right.
And she breaks down about that. So she finally gave in and said, you know what? I've got Friday night free. I'm going to surprise Will and take him to Poltergeist. But you got to promise me no more nightmares. I won't have any nightmares. So he has nightmares.
Yeah, right.
And about clowns, other stuff. Yeah. He's ready to commit. He's ready to go for it. I love the password to get into the castle, which was Radagast, the brown wizard from Lord of the Rings, or the Hobbit, whichever you want to do. But I think he begged her for the tickets because you saw his excitement when she showed it. So did you like the tickets? They're like this big.
Yeah. So like I'm not saying you're wrong at all because we don't even know. But I wonder if what it was she knows that she's been neglecting. She knows that he's going off into the fort to be alone because he doesn't have anybody at the house because mom's gone and Jonathan's doing his thing. And she sees this as an opportunity to connect.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't really see it another way. I don't know if I really see it either way, but another way is he doesn't really talk a lot about it. So I don't really see him begging to see it. I think more of, it's kind of like, Mama, man, I wish I could see that, but I know I'm only 10, you know? And she'd already told him no. But anyway,
I see that. I see your point, and I like your point. But for to get some bonding time, is that the movie you're going to take your child to see? Unless you really know your child wants to see that movie, because then again, your child would probably be hugging you the whole movie for watching that movie.
That's true.
So Will, I'm going to take you to Halloween Part 4. We're just going to buy one ticket because you're going to be hugging me the whole movie. So.
That's right. Or some dad saying, son, let's bond over Fatal Attraction. It's like Sleepless in Seattle. Whenever Tom Hanks goes, have you seen Fatal Attraction? No, you wouldn't let me go. Well, I did. And it scared every man in America.
Did he say, I wish I hadn't gone?
Yeah, I wish I hadn't gone or something like that. So, all right. So, good hamburger. And you know what, David? You know it was a good hamburger.
Oh, yeah. She's never had a hamburger. You know she hasn't.
Well, even that. It's cooked at a diner.
And it's Benny's Hamburgers. That's the name of the place.
Benny's Hamburger. It's not like some diner that's a diner because, that's how you get people to come in. This is a real diner.
He probably uses 80-20 grass-fed beef. Mm-hmm. Out of some local farm that just
greasy.
Lets them eat. Yes.
Never frozen.
Nope.
Just like I took my wife on our first date before we were married to what was called the butcher shop in Longview, Texas. And it was, the meat was never frozen and they were huge. But anyway, I like the way he's interacting with her. Of course, he still thinks she's a he, but I like the way he's interacting to her. And did you have anything to say about how he interacts with her and how she shows him 11 and things like that?
Well, I didn't get the sense that he still thought she was a he.
Okay.
Not necessarily. I
think unimportant.
I think part of the look at the end of the other scene kind of made him realize this isn't what I thought. But no, I like that he doesn't give up, and he doesn't, and he uses the food. He's not going to take it away from her. He's going to give it back. Right. She's hungry, but he wants to know who she is, just to connect, just to get her to open. And she doesn't really say anything. She just points and nods and just says stuff. I don't even think she says no at this point. I didn't write down any words, so I don't think she sees anything.
Okay, so I wrote down a progression. Mm-hmm. Good hamburger, nice Benny, hungry girl, she's 11, an unfortunate phone call, scary people come, 11 decides to turn off the fan and looks at it and it stops. That's my little progression.
Yeah.
What did not happen? And there's two things, and then I'm going to relate this to something. What did not happen when she stopped the fan? Her nose did not bleed.
Okay.
And I know my first thought was, well, that's because it was easy to move a fan.
Yeah.
To stop a fan. Stop a fan. It stops. But later on, she kills two guys with a bunch of forks. No blood. But she slams the door and there's blood.
Yeah. Yeah, later on when she takes out those two guys, she doesn't pass out either, because she does that quite often.
No, yeah. Well, she takes them out with she basically makes all the forks attack them, if I remember correctly. That's what it looked like. It looked like they had forks in their head and stuff.
Oh yeah, probably did.
Yeah, but here's why. Okay, for whatever realistic reason why, theatrically why, is because it makes the most impact where they had it happen.
Yeah.
So anyway, and which, you get a stronger thud with the door slamming. It has a lot of impact. It's a lot of, no, you're not going to do that. And then you go to her and there's blood, so that's definitely the right place to introduce the blood.
Well, chronologically, we're not at the scene where the people come in.
No,
we're only at the fan, but you're right. They don't quite give us the blood with the fan.
No.
In fact, what they should have done when she did the fan, she should have wiped her nose. And never show us the blood, but she could have wiped it.
Yeah.
As in like what any kid would do, but we didn't realize she was wiping blood.
Yeah, she could have been.
Did a nose hole.
Okay, so this next scene is when, unless you want to say anything else about that.
No, I like this next scene because it's a little misleading.
This is where the chief realizes that this is serious.
No, we got one more scene before this. It's a real quick scene. It's back at the lab. We've got this team of people listening to live phone call.
That's right.
And I like this scene because the call they pick up is Joyce trying to reach Lonnie, Will's dad, who she believes is Will's dad, but Dwaine thinks different. But Will's dad.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
I know, I'm just kidding. Jonathan's making signs, and the sheriff pulls up. No, we skipped the whole. No, you're right. You're right. Go back to sheriff and the two deputies on Mirkwood. Sorry. All right, so they are going down Mirkwood, and they find Will's crashed bike. I like Phil. I think Phil was his name. He's the idiot officer. Right. And he says, oh, he just must have just walked home. And this is why Hopper is the sheriff, not a deputy. Because Hopper says, no, this bike is like a Cadillac to these kids. He would have walked it home.
Right.
So this is a scene where something happened that was not normal.
Right. Chief finally realizes it.
I wrote down. Yeah, go ahead.
Chief realizes that all this time he's been thinking this is just an inconvenience for him. It's no longer an inconvenience.
Right. Something out of the norm has happened.
Yeah.
I wrote down back in the trailer that with all the stuff we saw, the beer bottles and the cans and the him asleep on the sofa kind of abnormally, that he must be a really good sheriff to still be the sheriff, even though he lives like that. So this is kind of a Hollywood thing where, as bad as they are, they're still a good person in the law enforcement, so, especially when they take medication in the morning with beer, old beer.
Right.
But you're right. This is where a sheriff says, okay, this could be something more than 99%. So,
right.
And go ahead.
Guess how long we've been podcasting?
We're only halfway. I don't want to look. We're still on the first episode. Maybe we shouldn't have done 2 episodes in one.
That's what I'm thinking. But we have to end it in time to do Survivor.
Yes.
So this is where we get to the all phones being monitored.
Yes, and they're listening to the live phone calls, and which tells us it's because they go to the call where Joyce is trying to reach Lonnie. Will's dad about it. Jonathan's making signs, and that's when the sheriff pulls up. But before the sheriff pulls up, what I love about this scene was they showed us this early enough to not let us remember that Benny's call was monitored and picked up and intercepted by this group of people. I love this. They try to redirect us, not make us look at this surprise, but make us look at that one in that direction. And we think about, they're listening to Joyce's phone call. They know something's going on. Yeah. So yada yada. Then sheriff pulls up with the bike, which is not a good sign for a parent to see your child's favorite toy come back broken, bit up, and come back. And I love this that Hopper's now taking it to the next step. He says, "All right, guys, we're going to walk in here, and I want you guys to start looking around the house. Nothing invasive. We're just going to start looking for signs of any altercation or anything of that matter."
He's very observant because here he notices a door handle hole in the wall.
Yes.
Has this been here? How long has this been here? I don't know. But he notices it, which of course means that Will probably slammed the door on the way out if it wasn't there before.
Right. Was the door kicked in? Was the door pulled in from the inside? Right.
Right.
This is what I was talking about in the first part, is that we never saw which way the door went or who did it.
Right.
But we got it. Here's where we got the payoff for it as to how it happened.
Sees the dog barking at the shed.
And the dog's not near the shed. I noticed that the dog is pretty far. I think the dog saw something, so he's pretty far away from the shed.
The dog's like, I'm mad at that shed.
Yeah, I'm backing up towards the house, but I'm still going to bark. And you know who are the best witnesses? Dogs. Dogs will tell you when something's wrong.
Right.
Something's not right. So sheriff follows his hunch and goes over to the shed.
Yeah.
But there's nothing in the shed. It's just a shed. There's nothing wrong with the shed.
But this is another scary moment. The lights go out along with the loud stereophonic boom.
Yes. But before that, we get more sheriffing. Good sheriffing. Just like the bike, set off an alarm. He looks down and he sees an open box of bullets. That sets off an alarm. And then he wants to see if there's bullets, there's got to be something else. Sure enough, he finds an empty gun rack. That's something's going on. And then he starts hearing the noises, the lights fizzle and all this kind of crazy stuff. And good little tense moment. Meanwhile, idiot deputy has been trying to call him for half an hour and he hasn't heard a thing.
Right. Which is kind of weird because later on in the show, the lights and stuff is like in Jaws when you get the music, dun it, that's the shark. Later on in the show and throughout the rest of the show, the lights flickering and stuff is Will.
Is it Will or is it the transition from Will to the monster? I thought the flickering is also right before they go out. Or no, they go super bright. Right before they go out. That's
the transition. Well, okay. So I'll go ahead and say this. You get the lights flickering and everything, and then they get real bright, and then they stop, and then you get the monster.
Right.
Like Will hides again. Right? Then the monster leaves, and the lights start doing it again, and that's why she ran back in the house. Now, I realize I'm skipping ahead, but heck, we're an hour into it. But that's when she runs back into the house. And that's when I think that they're trying to tell us the lights flickering is Will, and the nothing is the monster, and the lights flickering again is Will. That's what I think.
Now, we have done a great disservice. We have skipped over the first appearance of Will in the Upside Down. Back when we were talking about Castle Byers and the flashback, at the end of the flashback, she comes out of Castle Byers and goes out with Jonathan yelling for Will. Meanwhile, the curtain that covers Castle Byers is blowing very animately, and I think it's Will. There's no tornado outside, but the curtain that covers Castle Byers is blowing up.
Castle Byers? Why am I missing
his little
this?
fort, his little.
Okay.
And at the end of that flashback, she's looking around the empty fort, saying, "Oh, he's not here." She goes out with Jonathan yelling, and the curtain's blowing like crazy.
Yeah, because that's where he hides.
That's Will, and I think that's the first sign of Will. We just don't know at that point.
Yeah, because
later on, notes about that.
Right. Later on, several episodes later, we realize that that's where he's hiding. When he gets into that shed, the monster can't find him.
Right. Well, until the end of episode 9, but otherwise, yeah. Sorry, I actually went and watched a little bit of 9, 8, 7, and 8 today because I wanted to check something at the end.
Well, yeah, why not? So, anyways, a search party at night. Chief calls Mr. Clark. Oh, yeah, this is where he meets Mr. Clark. That's when we find out about his daughter Sarah. Right
before that, we get Mike's dinner table where Mike wants to go help search. His mom says no. Nancy wants to go study, but Mike points out it's just she wants to study with Steve. Yeah. So we're already getting the start of a rivalry that has a great payoff towards the end of this season.
Right.
The brother and sister that are constantly not helping each other. And I love how this pays off later on.
Right. Okay. So let's go ahead and get to the Mike using his realistic, I think that's the name of it, the realistic walkie-talkie that apparently is a super walkie-talkie, because I had walkie-talkies and they never worked this well.
Yeah.
Well, I think to talk to Lucas.
I think I've read last time when we were talking to Cass about this in the other podcast that these weren't out yet in 1983. So there's a little time problem here. I might have to look that up again, but yeah.
This is where Lucas talks to him about how Will could have played it. No, Mike.
Yeah.
One of the dudes talk about how Will could have played it safe, but he didn't. So we got to go after him. Yeah, this is when he's having it. So anyway,
he's put himself in danger. He's in danger. We have to go save him now.
Okay. This way. It's time for an adventure to find Will. Oh wait, I mean Steve sneaking in your sister's room.
Yeah.
Ninja
like.
Yeah. So, then we go to Steve and Nancy, big deal. 11 and Benny just chilling while she eats some ice cream. Now we're getting to this horrible scene where grandma kills people.
Yeah, I love the smile. She smiles at him like, "Oh, you want me to smile at you because I'm happy." Well, I am happy, so here's a smile, and this is what you get.
Yeah.
That's probably the only time she smiles the whole season.
Yeah. So real quickly, unless there's something specific you see in this scene, the door knocks, the scary woman comes, kills Benny, and 11 takes out a couple of guys with forks. That's about the scene.
Yeah, I liked how Benny was getting so invested in who she was and what was going on with her that he tries to brush him away. He's not waiting for social services anymore. He tells them that we're closed. He doesn't even think for a second that they could be social services.
Well, that's because they're so far away, though. He says, I wasn't expecting you this early.
Yeah, so was it that? Was it her voice? Was it what? But it's almost like he didn't even look twice at her. He just said, we're closed. Yeah. So, but you're right. It probably was a distance thing. Yeah. But yeah, that was sad. So I can't relate to Benny anymore because he's dead. So
how ironic is it that Mike says, this is when they're on their bikes, right? And Mike says, don't do anything stupid, as they are indeed doing something stupid.
Oh, absolutely.
Going into the woods.
Yeah, it starts to rain and Dustin's like, we should go back. And Mike's like, just stay together. Don't do anything stupid.
Of course, to be fair, they don't know there's a monster on the loose.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Nancy's in her bedroom with Steve studying, then not studying, whatever. Okay, we know where that's going. Listening to Toto. That's right. I wrote that down. So,
hold on, it's almost over. All right, that was a little longer than I thought it was.
Whenever we go to a Steve and Nancy scene, you need to play that first.
Well, it's like 15, 20 seconds long. Hold on, let me see how long it is. That's 22 seconds long. That's kind of longer. But it says, nothing can pull me away from you, just as they're embracing.
Yeah.
And what a player. What a player.
All along.
Every time you get one wrong, you have to take off your clothes. Really? That works?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Thank you, Toto, for taking us out of that scene.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on. Joyce and Jonathan making pictures of Will. Here's Jonathan feeling responsible. And Joyce is like, just because I said that you shouldn't have left Will alone and you were a horrible brother doesn't mean you're responsible.
Yeah. And just because I'm a mom who's not here doesn't mean I'm responsible. Right. But I love what she says, because she has one little line that really sticks out. And it says, in my heart, I feel that he's close by.
Yeah.
And she's exactly right.
Right. And you know what? This is the first time Will tries to reach out to her.
Yep.
And if she wasn't,
I think he tried to reach out in the castle when he blew the curtain, but she just didn't see it.
Right. But then if she wasn't scared before, a phone blowing up in your face after you hear your son breathing, that scared me a little bit.
Yeah. So it sounds like you and I both had subtitles on, because my Netflix, for some reason, subtitles are on. So I wrote down the 5 stages of this phone call.
Oh, yeah. Good. Let me hear it while I eat another bite of my candy bar.
Yes. Number 1, she heard static. Then number 2, she heard muffled breathing on the phone, and breathing continues. Number 3, she heard scrambled voice chitters. 4, she heard static again. And 5, she heard indistinct growling. So the static was between the different stages of the phone call. And then after that, the electricity surged and blew up her phone.
Yep.
So any phone call, I have dictation of all the phone calls.
That is cool. Through. That's like on Notting Hill. Whenever he finally calls her at the hotel and finally gets through, and all you hear is one side of the conversation, unless you have closed captioning on.
Yeah.
And you get to hear what she says.
Right.
And that's what she said.
And I liked it because I wanted to break that call up to see if I could see what was going on, because it's obviously Will at the beginning, then a break, then the monster at the end.
Yeah. All right. Here comes the cliffhanger. Boys in the woods.
I love it. Dustin yells, I've got your X-Men 134.
Yeah. Lucas being annoying again.
Yeah.
Lucas. Wait, is it Lucas? Who realizes how stupid their actions are?
I wrote down the whole line. Did you write it down?
No.
I wrote it down. Dustin says it. He says,
okay.
Did you ever think Will went missing because he ran into something bad? And we're going to the exact same spot where he was last seen, and we have like no weapons or anything?
Yeah. Isn't it funny how sometimes the comic relief guy is the one that says the most poignant things, the most wise things. He's the most observant.
He is. He's the most observant and the most humorous. I think Lucas is similar, but Lucas has different reactions.
Yeah.
But you're right. But yeah, Dustin's just blatantly honest.
Yeah.
And it's
Dustin
hilariously honest.
You compared Lucas to Dustin, and I am greatly offended.
You'll be changed by the time it's over with.
So, and then boom, 11.
Yes. Flashlights shining. Yes.
Wow. All right. An hour and 15 minutes in. Let's hit chapter 2.
Oh, and that's chapter 2. Here we go.
The weirdo on Maple Street. The weirdo. Well, too bad I don't have one of my commercials. Oh, I played the wrong applause earlier. I should have played the other one. There you go. It's a lot shorter than the other one. All right. So we're back at the house. 11 is scared. Hello. 11 knows nothing outside of her laboratory. Right? She knows nothing. This is all brand new to her.
The only experiences she's had other than lab techs and Papa and anything like that are her, what are they? The submergible
Handlers?
tank.
Oh, yeah.
The submergible tank experiences where she's listened in on conversations and stuff.
Well,
those are her only experiences, I would think, outside of the lab. Right, besides her handlers and lab techs, yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so this is where we get. You're supposed to tell me not to take off my clothes.
Oh, please don't take off. No.
That's right.
Before that,
obviously, these boys are prepubescent.
Yes, yes, indeed. But before that, we get the death test. He slaps his hands in front of her face.
That's right.
I'm like, I don't think that's a deaf test. I think that's a sight test. Well, she's not deaf.
All right. This scene is where it refers to it's a mad world. Mm-hmm. Do you remember what one of my most favorite parts of that movie is?
You've told me, but I've forgotten.
Well, think about this scene. What does Dustin do like 7 times?
He mimics lifting up his shirt.
Yeah. She went kind of like, and then sometimes he doesn't even say it. He just looks at Lucas and goes,
Like, remember?
Right? Yeah. Right. And that is like, it's a mad world. Whenever that car goes off the cliff and one of the guys goes, did you see how the car just went on out there? And then you see him a couple of seconds later, the car just went on out there. And then the police come. Did you see the way the car just went on out there? It's one of my favorite scenes. So Dustin was great doing that. It's like that's all he could go back to.
Yeah, like, that's all I got.
I almost saw my first girl.
Yes.
Without any clothes on.
Without a lab.
That is crazy, he's thinking. This is where Lucas really started to annoy me. Ugh. I won't go into that anymore.
But this is where Lucas is being short-fused realistic about who is this girl? Why do we care? Let's go find Will.
Right. She is an obstacle.
That's his single directional sense. Right. Stay on task. Don't worry about this. I think Mike's already thought of the fact that she was where we were looking for Will.
Uh-huh.
There's something about her that I can't turn in. Something about her I can't tell my parents about yet because there's something odd here.
Right. She is the rabbit in the conversation that is finding Will.
Yes.
Yeah, that deserves some applause.
I'm with you.
Yeah. So how about this plan? She sleeps over.
No, she's going to sleep down here.
You can't have a girl sleep over at your house. That's horrible.
That's worse than going out at night and not telling our parents.
Yeah. But this is where we get to see Mike in he's truly compassionate and caring. Right.
And thoughtful and
and
thorough thinking. Yeah.
Which is why she ends up liking him so much. You know, there's that connection. Someone actually cares about her. It's not Lucas, and Dustin's just kind of Dustin, but Mike really cares about her, and it's obvious. And he calls her L, but I still got to call her 11. I can't call her L. So, and then what do we get? Yeah. All right. Back at Will's house. She's frantic. Jonathan is calm. Chief says, we've searched all night and found nothing. And then here it comes. Right? Mm-hmm. Oh, really? You wouldn't know your own daughter's breathing? Wow. That was a.
Yeah.
You don't believe her. He's like, right. It's his breathing. All right. You want to get to the next scene? Mike hiding some Egos. Let go of my ego.
Yeah, we get a phone crew outside. We get the real phone crew outside the buyer's house this early in the morning, and we know they're real because they're in a bucket truck. They're not in a van with all kinds of blue painting on the side of it.
Right.
With shady people. Let's see. So we already got past the buyer's house. Is that what you just talked about? I'm sorry.
Well, I was saying that Lucas, 11 is downstairs playing with the supercom, right? And Lucas would never get anything out of 11, but Mike gets her to talk about bad people.
Right.
Lucas would never be able to get anything out of her because he's so abrasive and uncaring towards her.
He's too direct. Yeah.
Yeah. He never heard the phrase, you get more from sugar than the other. And I don't know the phrase either, but
you get more with honey than you do something else or something like that.
Yeah. Like neither one of us knows the phrase. So,
which is why we're not good interrogators. But yeah, he collects Egos for her and tells her his plan, which she immediately says no.
Right.
So she said like 2.5 words so far in 2 episodes.
Now we also get here we are at school, right? And Steve's still playing his long game, right? Just like Sawyer on Lost. He's playing his long game to get to Nancy. And we find out that Nancy is just as caring as her brother.
Right.
Because she goes up to Jonathan. They're all calling him a freak. It's even to the point of he probably took his brother. You know, just total jerks and insensitive and non-empathetic. But she
definitely
cares.
Get a separation of characters, yeah.
All right. She cares just like her brother does. So
she also cares about the calendar because when they tell her they're having a party, a no parent home party, she says, but it's Tuesday.
Yeah. I've got a test. What the heck?
It's a school night. What are you talking about?
Yeah. People don't go out on Tuesdays. What?
Yeah. My question from earlier is there was a lab scene where Dr. Brenner is listening to the calls, and they've got Joyce on the phone talking about what happened to her phone. So what phone is she using to make this phone call? Because she hasn't gone and bought another phone yet.
Her cell phone, dummy.
Oh, good answer. Okay. It just struck me.
If the Flintstones can talk through a stone phone, then she can talk through her smartphone.
It's a Rockarola. That's what it is. Instead of Motorola, It's a Rockarola. Okay.
Okay. So then we get Lucas being negative again. And yes, I am going to dwell on this for a while until he stops being so negative.
Well, I can't tell where you are because I don't even have Lucas on this page yet that have my notes.
Oh, well, this is after Nancy cares about Jonathan. Because you went back.
Oh, I've already dropped that page.
Yeah. Again, Lucas is so freaking negative, and Dustin is still focused on the whole, he's still doing this shirt thing.
Yeah.
This is like a day later. He's still doing the shirt thing. All right. And here we go. Mike stays home. Right?
Right.
He stays home. Just like in E.T., he takes 11 around the house and shows her things because she is so much like E.T. She doesn't know anything about the world. And he's showing her all the different things, including the lazy boy, little player he is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Here's a lazy boy. No, obviously that's not what he's doing.
I like how he dates the show by saying, look at our 22-inch TV. It's 10 times bigger than Dustin's, which means Dustin has a 2-inch TV.
A 2.2-inch TV. Which they made those,
Yes,
for when you're out. They got little antennas on them.
Poor Dustin.
They have antennas on them so you can pick up the, high definition 4K.
No wonder he's at Mike's house all the time. He's got that 22-incher.
Yeah. By the way, Stranger Things is 4K and it looks amazing. Because I finally got a 4K TV for like $300. They're so cheap now.
Wow.
And you know what? I learned something.
What?
You take a 4K TV that doesn't look as good as the one in the store, and you bring it home, and it's the best looking 4K TV you got in your house.
Where'd you get one for $300?
Walmart, man. It's some brand called TCL. I don't care. It looks good.
What size is it?
55-inch.
Nice.
Yeah. But, it's like 10 times as big as yours.
It probably is. Well, see, that's the problem with the one in our den. You've seen that one, the one I was given, the 63-inch TV. It's kind of older. Yeah. But that's why I couldn't see the monster through the clothes because the screen wasn't as clear as I wanted it to be.
Yeah. The whole thing was like dark. Wow, this is a really dark show. No, that's as bright as your TV gets.
I'm in episode 4 and I have yet to see this monster.
Yeah. Okay, this is where 11 finally laughs. We get a little bit of happiness. Yes. And the lazy boy was fun. And she laughed, which was awesome. By the way, is she not like the best actor in this entire series? She is so good.
She is good. My other favorite is Nancy, the sister. I love her arc, but I think she's also really good in this because she doesn't play somebody that wants to be gotten by the cool guy. She plays the smart kid that knows better, but kind of lets herself go, but then comes back in the end. But I think there's several breakout performances in this.
By the way, Mike K is in our chat room, and he said, my Samsung 4K Super Ultra HD, by the way, mine's also Super Ultra HD, is 65-inch, but costs 10 times what you paid. Boom! Why pay Why pay $3,700 for a TV?
So the phrase. So this podcast is hashtag 10 times.
Yeah, really cool. All right. Where are we?
Jonathan's having a flashback now of introducing a mixtape to Will, and it gets on the Clash. Meanwhile, Joyce is on the phone with Lonnie where he's backing out of taking him to a game. And I love this honesty here in this scene where Jonathan says, you didn't really want to go anyway, did you? Do you even like baseball? He's like, well, I just sometimes like going with him. Just spending time with Dad. Heartbreaker.
Yeah, and he still has hope. But his older brother is saying, look, man, that is like casting pearls before swine, buddy. It ain't going to happen.
So we had already talked about the sheriff coming over and seeing the phone.
Dude, you got to talk about her buying 20,000 phone. Oh, no. She buys one more phone and puts the guilt trip on her boss.
Yeah, I got that next. And Jonathan is headed to Lonnie's. I was reading that, and I'm like, wait a minute. When did Jonathan – did we skip him talking to the sheriff? But, yeah, we've already passed that. So, yeah, Joyce is going to her workplace to get a new phone, which she doesn't have any money for, and then she asks for an advance and reminds him that her son is missing, and she has not missed a day in 10 years. She's her most loyal employee, and she also wants cigarettes while she's there.
Yeah, first it's a phone, and he finally gives in. Then she goes, and add this to it, and he looks at her, finally adds that, and I want some cigarettes.
And she read out a 2-week check. So.
And this is when we get the bad guys at the house.
Yes, fake utility guy at the buyer's house, no answer. So Dr. Brenner and his crew in the bunny suits come out again.
And they're searching for something with
but instead of guns, they have scanners. They are scanning for, I think, the presence of the monster, or L, or where she's been. They cover the home and make their way to the shed and get strong readings. And the doc sees the ooze, the slime.
Yeah. So we got another ET thing. He puts her in a closet because mom comes home.
Yeah, he's got to go fake man sick.
Yeah, and boy, that freaks her out. And then we get to find out why.
Yes, first lab flashback.
And another example of how horrible her dad is. She's just an experiment to him.
Mm-hmm. And we find out later that part of this is her not crushing the Coke can.
Right.
She won't do what he's asking her to do because she's a weapon. He wants to use her and wants to advance her skills, and she won't do it. And he says, fine. And then she goes back to her room.
Yeah. Then we get Joyce putting together or setting up the new phone, the first of many. And see, this is one thing why I like about rewinding and then remembering the fast forward is because I get to kind of chuckle. This is the first of many phones.
Yes.
Which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah. We had another search party with Hopper and Phil. They're standing on the rock this time at the quarry.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something else that was filmed at this quarry was The Walking Dead. And for those of you that have seen it, you know the season I'm talking about. That was a great start of a season.
So did Hawkins police just like barely miss them or something? Were they there like right before it?
It was a few decades ahead of time.
Okay.
But they're talking about a story, almost a fable in Hawkins about this guy that claims he jumped off the rock and survived. And Hopper makes it very clear, nobody's going to fall off because this is foreshadowing. Nobody's going off this rock and surviving, hitting the bottom.
Yeah, and they're foreshadowing for like 7 episodes ahead.
Yeah.
So only the smart people know that.
That's right. So, and then Chief gets a call about heading to Benny's. You're going to want to see this.
Yeah.
Oh. And we go right to Benny's.
Yeah,
must have been close.
You know what I noticed is Benny's there dead. You think it's been a couple of days? At least
I think it's been 24. I think it's been 24.
24 days?
24 hours.
I don't think so. Well, okay. I don't really want to go through because we could sit here for 5 minutes and try to figure it out, and I don't really care. All I know is he apparently didn't stink.
Well, the night he was shot, she got to Mike's house because they found her in the dark. The next day, she gets fed Eggos. He doesn't go to school. He fakes being sick. So I think it's the next day. I think it's around 24 hours. I know it'd be a short catch up.
Fair enough.
So we get the idiot officer again saying, wow, a missing kid and a suicide must feel like the big city. And Hopper reminds us that he's a real person. He's not just a sheriff. He says, no, those are strangers. Benny was my friend.
Right. So this is where we find out. Where earlier in the episode, knowing that he was from the city before kind of helps us get an idea of why he's drinking his beer and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Because he's missing his daughter and he lived in the city. So I love that. Now we already know that. Yeah. Anyway, so this is where Jonathan's going to see his dad.
Well, this is when he gets to the house. Yeah.
Yeah. So are you sure?
Yeah. This is he was at Lonnie's house. So he left a while before. Back when he had his flashback about the clash was when he was driving. So now he's at Lonnie's house. He pushes himself past Lonnie's girlfriend.
Yeah, no. They did a cut scene to Mike and Lucas and Dustin because while 11 was in his house, she noticed Will while she was at his house. So now we're at the scene where Mike tells Lucas and Dustin about 11 knowing Will. And of course, Lucas is like, "Are you crazy?" And then, this is when Lucas gets all aggressive with her.
Yeah.
He's like very aggressive with her.
He feels they've lost too much time on finding Will, on dealing with this girl. Why do we care about this girl? Why are we still talking to her?
Well, we care about her because now she knows who Will is.
Now we do. But he was to that point. He was still not focused. He's like, he was upset that they're not out looking for Will.
But even after Mike tells him she saw Will, he's still like, "Are you crazy? She doesn't know Will. We need to go talk to your mom."
Yeah, she's probably from that nut house.
Right. And this is when she slams the door.
Right, when he goes to leave.
And they look at her and she's like, "And blood coming down."
Yes.
And it was right before she licked it that they cut.
Well, she says her fifth line and it's no.
No. All right. By the way, Jonathan's dad car has one heck of a wax job.
Yes.
Those were some small beads on it.
That's why I said the backyard. So.
And his dad is so, I wrote obtuse. He's so annoyingly insensitive to what all's going on. And we also get a hint of his anger towards Chief Hopper.
Yep. Is Hopper still there? Yeah. So he knows he's there. He also points out, maybe I'm not the crazy one. Mom's let you run off and son's missing and now you're running off. She don't know you're here.
Yeah. What a wonderful mom she is.
So we think that's the end of Lonnie, but that's not the case about 3 episodes.
Unfortunately.
So now we get Hopper talking to one of the diner witnesses who is an actor, who's been in other stuff. I don't know who he is. I know you're surprised. And he said, "Well, yeah, everybody's just us here. And then except for that kid trying to steal food. Some little boy over there trying to steal food. Hold on. What little boy?" And he says, "Kid over there behind eating fries." And then the officer brings up a picture of Will. He says, "No, that's Lonnie's kid. He knows who that is." And Hopper's like, being the sheriff, like, "Look, forget the haircut." And then finally it comes a little police pressure, but finally comes around and says, "All right, fine. If he had a shaved head, that could have been the same. Could have been the same kid."
Yeah. I wrote, Chief got the guy from No Way to could be.
Exactly.
I mean, that's just like, okay, I really want you to say that this is the kid. So I'm going to keep saying it until your only choice is could be.
But looking at it from Hopper's side, how good a look did that guy really get? Benny was standing between him and the kid. Benny chased the kid out, so he probably didn't hardly see the kid. But at the same time, I got a missing little boy, and now I've got a little boy eating fries in a diner. Yeah. Something's not adding up.
By the way, just going back, rewinding a little bit, Encyclopedia Mike in our chat room says, "I wondered if that was the same location as in The Walking Dead." And then he wrote, "Bellwood Quarry is a former granite quarry in Atlanta, Georgia, which closed in 2007 and is slated to be turned into a lake for future West Side Park."
Yep.
This guy loves Google. That's all I'm saying. All right.
Then we get Nancy talking Barb into going with her to Steve's house. More peer pressure.
Right. Well, I thought that already happened.
I got seen by
now they're at dinner. Because now they're at dinner.
Yeah, now we're at Mike's dinner's house. But that was before.
Yeah. And she wants to go mourn Will's loss.
Yeah, I forgot about the announcement. After Nancy goes over to Jonathan, leaving her friends, sharing her sympathies, there's a school announcement that on the football field tonight, there'll be an assembly to show our support for Will Byers and his family. I'm like, do you guys really know yet what happened to Will Byers? Could there be a serial killer out there and you're putting all these kids out on a football field in the middle of the night to give them targets? I'm like, you people have you not seen movies? Yeah. Do you people not know what this is?
Feel free to ride your bikes to high school tonight.
That's right. We're going to start at 8:00 and end at midnight.
Right. And we thought it'd be cool to go where he was found missing. No, they don't do that, but
yeah.
And then of course they see 11 and Dustin goes, bangs on the table. I thought that was great.
This is a scene I probably watched 3 times the first time I saw it because I love how Barb has plans and Mike and the boys have plans and Mom wants to put them together someplace that neither of them have a plan to go.
Wait, and not Barb, Nancy.
I'm sorry. Mike's mom wants to put them together where neither of them want them to go, and they all agree no. And then I love when she asked the boys, "Are you not hungry?" "Oh, well, I had 2 bologna sandwiches for lunch, so yeah, I'm not really that hungry." But then, like you said, 11 comes down, and it's perfect. Mike spits all of his milk out.
Yeah,
and Dustin goes, "Sorry, spasm," as he bangs.
Sorry, spasm. I've never had them before, but
Only want to see a girl.
Right. Now we get Chief's first interest in the laboratory because they're doing their search party, right? This is the next scene, right?
Yeah. At the end of Benny's scene, he says, it's like we need a new search party because now we got a new spot to start from. So here's the new search party, right?
And they found a piece of cloth by the water drain, which leads them to the laboratory fence.
Once again, if it wasn't for that monster, Teacher Clark finding that piece of cloth makes him a candidate. But I'm so glad we have a monster because I like Teacher Clark.
Yeah, Teacher Clark. Look what I found.
Yes.
It has my DNA all over it because I found it.
Exactly. I've got my gloves on, so you can't really tell. But I love this is a great monologue scene right here where Phil, the idiot cop, says a kid crawls through a tunnel, and Hopper says a scared enough kid might. But his second line is very, very important. He says, remember, his brother said he was good at hiding, which is what he's doing in the Upside Down. So Jonathan had told him he's good at hiding. So if you look for him, you better look good because he can hide really well. Yeah. And it's a good thing because that's what he's doing in the Upside Down.
I didn't catch that because you're right. The whole reason why he's surviving as long as he does is because of that.
Yeah, because he's staying on the move and because he's hiding. I love that foreshadowing that Chief reminded us that Jonathan said he's good at hiding.
Right. Now, so we get 11 playing with the walkie-talkie again, and I kind of get the feeling, because she's been playing with that walkie-talkie a couple of times, I get the feeling like she's trying to figure out how to make it so she can communicate with the Upside Down world.
I think she's got an inkling of what it is, yeah. And I think she's trying. You're right. She's something she's never seen. She knows it's a device that she can use.
Oh, okay. What
she knows
it
it's
is
an
being
electronic device she can use. Yeah, and she's trying to manipulate it to use it in some sense. I'm not sure what she's doing with it, but that's a great question. What is her intention? Because she's holding it twice now, I think, and it's obvious that she knows it's good for something.
Right. And Lucas has a nice moment, probably because he's still scared of the slammed door in his face. But I think they bring her meatloaf. And Lucas says, look, we just wanted to find our friend Will.
Yeah. And that's when they realize she has no idea what some of these basic things of life are.
A friend. Yeah. Something you'll do anything for. They trade stuff. They never break a promise, especially if you spit, which I never did that.
Another great physical prop moment for Dustin. Just having his comedic moments. But even before, I love what Dustin says. I know. It's like dripping. It's kind of like Bill Murray with the ooze and Ghostbusters, just trying to get it off his hand. But Dustin, when he walks in, he goes, "Oh, we would have never upset you if we knew you had superpowers." Just being honest, ma'am. He gets all the good lines.
Oh man.
So after the handshake spit, which was great, Nancy and Barb arrive at the party after going through the whole park and changing something or another.
But the party animal.
Yeah, I love that what you said earlier. This is Steve. He's playing the whole gambit to make sure he gets time with Nancy, welcoming Barb instead of saying, "Oh, you came too." He doesn't. He just says, "Hello, ladies," and brings them right into the party.
And Nancy knew she was setting herself up. It's almost like I feel like she didn't intend to sleep with him. But she was testing the lines, kind of hoping she would, while still saying, "No, I wouldn't do that." Mm-hmm. But knowing in her mind that she'd like to, and kind of setting herself up for that.
Was not going to fight necessarily if something happened.
So, and what's really weird, David, is I kind of got the sense that someone was going to get taken. I don't really know why, but I had that feeling.
But we also get a hint of something that comes into major effect later in the season as to Barb eventually cutting herself as after dealing with peer pressure to drink a can of beer from the bottom. She cuts herself. So
not on purpose.
No, not on purpose. She accidentally cuts herself, and so there's blood, exposed blood.
So how is that foreshadowing?
Because later on in the season, it's shown that blood draws the beast.
Does it?
It does.
I didn't remember that at all.
I apologize. I went to 7 and 8 just to see a few clips to verify something. I know, and it's said several times that. Well, I'll even tell you that when they're in the school towards the end of the season, when they're in the school and they're trying to escape, and there's the mean woman from Benny's and her henchmen, and the henchmen behind. 11 steps up and wipes them all out by making their eyes bleed. They drop. Yeah. And then Brenner shows up with more people, and Brenner's trying to hold her, and the boys are getting held back by the guards. All of a sudden, the wall starts crashing.
Yeah.
And Mike says, it's the blood. It's coming for the blood. So there are several times where it's the blood that draws him. So she's bleeding. She drips it into the water eventually. But before we get to that, we get Hopper in a very telling scene where he realizes things are changing and there's something going on. I love what he says. You ever feel like you're cursed? And he's talking to Sandra, and I only know it's Sandra because Sandra was notated in the subtitles that Sandra.
Who is Sandra?
I have no idea. But he even knows it's such a rarity that he knows that the last missing person was in the summer of 23 and the last suicide was in 61. That's how long it's been.
Oh, well, yeah.
He knows these stats because that's how rare they are.
Right.
But right after that, we get a really, really good scene.
An excellent scene that is made even more excellent because you know what happens later. You know where he really is.
Yeah, she's telling us everything. And we're not even picking all of it up. She sits down at the D&D board at the table, and she closes her eyes, and then it's like a little shake, and then she picks up Will's wizard and says, Will.
Okay, so that was Will's wizard.
That was Will's wizard. The other two had different characters. They were more combat characters.
I was wondering
Will
why.
Was the wizard.
I mean, I figured that that there was a reason why it was the wizard. But,
yeah, later on, we're going to get Will at his kitchen table talking about the wizard. He draws pictures of the wizard throwing fireballs.
Okay.
When he's talking to Joyce in a flashback.
I didn't catch that the first time I watched it.
And Dustin, of course, says superpowers.
Right. Well, she says, like you said, she says Will. Right. Okay. Then he said superpowers.
Yeah, Dustin says superpowers. But then Mike says, okay, this is Mike picking up on everything. Yeah. Mike says, do you know where he is? Not, how do you know that's Will? Why would you know that's Will? He says, goes right to the point. Do you know where he is?
And here it comes.
It chills right now, just thinking about it. Yeah. And she flips over the board to show them it's not on top. It's on the bottom. I don't know if they get that yet, but it's
upside down. No, they don't get that yet.
No, they don't get that yet. Not till the teacher gives them the great analogy. But still, she puts the wizard right in the middle of the black bottom of the board.
That's where he is, on the upside down world.
You asked, that's where he is.
Yeah. Like Will is hiding. Yep.
No, it says, what's he doing? He's hiding.
No. He asks, Will is hiding, and she says, yep.
No, she says hiding. She says the word hiding. I wrote down
okay.
Hiding. He says, what's he doing? Like, what is he doing on there? And she says, hiding. Oh, from the bad people. What does she say?
Nope.
What does she do?
From the Demogorgon.
She picks up the Dema and drops it right on the table. It's not people he's hiding from. It's worse.
That's right.
if it's possible, it's worse.
Yeah. Then we get Voyeur Jonathan.
Oh, gosh. Really?
Okay. Please tell me. Okay. He's taking pictures of sticks and tires and leaves. Somehow.
He's a crime scene photographer. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Right. And then he hears a scream.
Yes.
That must be horrible. But instead it's girls being thrown into pools by boys, which is always a huge flirtation device.
Hello.
Yeah. So, we get this whole thing where Nancy's enamored with this guy and Barb sees the stupidity of it all. And the thing about Barb is she recognizes what Steve is doing. Because, and really Nancy should too, because they've seen it so many times before.
But in the same time, Nancy is also a little bit, I think, not in love. What do they call it?
Oh, infatuated.
Infatuated. Yes. This is the guy. This is Steve Harrington.
Oh yeah. This is the
Barb.
guy.
I mean, this is a night where nobody's going to bother us. And
right.
It's one. Just go ahead. I know that there's a kid missing out there, probably a serial killer, but go ahead and walk by yourself back to the car where we parked it down the street and go ahead and go home without.
That's a little bit later. That's a little bit later. Because first she has to cut her hand.
Well, she's already cut her hand in that previous beer drinking scene. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But now that, and so they get in, so Barb, I don't remember what it was, but Barb gets to sit on the, no. Now that Barb is on the way, out of the way, because she's in the house working on her cut, it's time for Full Pun to turn into Pool Fun.
Right. Right. So Barb's coming out of fixing her hand and they're coming in wet. They're like, oh, we're going to go upstairs and get changed and dry off.
No, that's later. That's later.
Oh, I'm at the later. Go ahead.
Well, you're skipping a whole mama gets another phone call.
Hello. Oh, you're right. Well, we're just jumping around everywhere. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, but so breathing and lights flickering. So what did the captioning say on this phone call?
Okay, number 1, muffled breathing in phone. So we get right to the breathing right away. Number 2, muffled breathing continues between Joyce's comments. Number 3, indistinct noise over phone. Number 4, static. Number 5, the scariest and saddest, mom. Comes to
Really?
She gets a mom right on that phone call.
Oh my goodness.
And then an electric surge.
Which was blue on her face.
Yes.
Why wasn't there any burn marks on her face?
I don't know, because it wouldn't look good on the camera. Regardless, the lights start to flicker.
Mm-hmm.
Will is home.
This is my favorite scene.
Yes, this is amazing. This is why I have this wall behind me. So if something happens, you will tell me while this wall.
Do you know why I have the Blackhawks on my wall?
To cover your wall?
No, because it is the closest city I had to represent to Hawkins.
Oh.
There you go. Because I was going to put up my Seattle flag.
Yeah.
That we were given. We were actually given both of these flags. We, meaning me. Yes. So anyway. All right. So can I just tell you why I like this scene so much? Or do you want to go ahead and say the things you want to say and then let me have it?
Go ahead.
All right. Breathing, lights flickering. Will is here. Will is at the house. Well, it's almost like, okay, so Will's talking to her and the monster stops it. He doesn't know where Will is, but he knows that Will has made a connection, so he stops it. Then she starts hearing Will in another part of the house, right? So she goes and finds, of course, she doesn't know it's Will in the other part of the house, but she goes and she finds and she hears the music, right? There's the light, and then it all goes out and the monster comes through the wall or tries. Right? She runs out of the house, so the monster knows, okay, she's not here anymore. And she's scared. She's about to leave, and then it all comes back on again. Why? Because the monster's on his way to get Barb because he smelled the blood.
Yes, absolutely.
And so then Will is back, right? But I just got this connection while I was watching it. And then whenever you said the blood, I got the connection even more. So he leaves. The monster leaves. That's why he didn't chase her the rest of the way, because he leaves to go get Barb. And then Will gets to come back. And then he goes and gobbles up Barb.
Right.
I love that.
Let me give you a little episode 8.
All right.
It's the same exact line. Hopper and Joyce go into the Upside Down. Remember, they get in the suits and they go in there. But the only way, and Nancy's talking to Jonathan, they're going in there themselves. They need help. We got to do something. They've cut their hands in the fight and in previous episodes. So they're there with blood on their hands. And that's when Steve shows up at the house. Like, what are you guys doing? Is that blood on your hand? What are you doing? They're drawing the monster out of the Upside Down so that Hopper and Joyce can go find Will. Right. It's the same situation that you just explained. And it's so good that the blood draws him out into the house where they go through their whole deal, which I can't wait to talk about that episode. But you're right. It's so neat that there's all this distraction going on for the monster so that other things are going on. But unfortunately, Barb was a distraction to pull him out of the house, like you said. And once the monster left, Will threw everything back on. And Joyce, I love that she didn't leave. That's my baby. She feels it. She feels it in her heart that something's going on with these lights, and it's Will.
Well, yeah. Well, the lights came on again.
Right. But I mean, she said it earlier. I feel in my heart he's close. And she just, she can't leave the house because the house is what Will knows. It's Will's home. It's like she knows he's not going to go far from it. To me, that's a tie. That's just Joyce. This is Winona Ryder. Yes.
I absolutely see that. But I also feel like she was going to leave because she was scared of that monster. But then the monster left and the lights came on, and then she was like, oh, Will's back. I'm going to go back in there.
Yeah, she put it together. She put it together that the lights came back and the thing came back. That thing's gone.
Yeah. Oh, this is what I wrote. Monster leaves to go visit a diving board smorgasbord.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
So he gets a little extra on that board. So Monster shows up at Steve's house for an easier meal, but he'll do that in a minute. So Barb knows Nancy should not be going upstairs to change clothes. This is where Nancy has already decided. She's willing for Barb to go out and get killed.
Yes, I'm fine. Go home. I'll get a ride.
Right. So Barb goes out to die instead.
Well, she doesn't die yet. It takes a little while.
But she's going out there to die.
She's going out there by herself, yes, to die.
To die.
Nancy sent her to die.
And there's a bunch of mad people, which I still don't get. There's not a ton of mad people about Benny dying. You know?
I'm disappointed, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think what it was is we don't know that she died. We just know she got taken. But then they never talk about her for a while. So everybody's like, what happened to Barb? Where is Barb? You know, only to be disappointed that Barb's dead later on in the season.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, Jonathan is taking pictures, and all of Steve's conniving has paid off. So there you go.
Yep. Barb is taken, and Jonathan missed it. Although he got it, he just doesn't know he got it. But lights flicker off and on, and then back on.
Yep. And then we get the inappropriate teenage behavior. Barb is on the diving board of death.
Dripping blood.
Lights come back on as the monster leaves.
Yep.
And my friend, that wraps up episode 2.
The weirdo on Maple. Who was the weirdo on Maple Street?
I don't know. Who lives on Maple Street?
I don't know.
Wait, okay. So we do this whole show and we don't know what the title means.
Well, I know when they were describing Mirkwood, they said something in Maple. So it's over there by either the buyer's house or this lab. So
yeah, but who's the weirdo, though? I mean, nobody's a weirdo.
Well, if you know who the weirdo is and you're listening to this, email us at
feedback. Well, feedback at survivortalkwithdnd.com.
Yeah,
which I know is Survivor Talk with D&D, but you know, in all seriousness, I just can't. I'm not going to make a whole new site for Rewind Fast Forward probably until Survivor Talk is over, and I'll just convert Survivor Talk to a Rewind Fast Forward page. But we do have a Rewind Fast Forward page on the Survivor Talk page.
Yeah.
So, all right. Wow. That was exciting and fun. Anything else you want to say about those episodes?
What, you mean 90 minutes of the first one wasn't enough?
Yeah, really. Well, what's funny is it took us an hour and 15 minutes to go through the first one, and it took us 40 minutes to go through the second one.
Well, the first one had so much introduction to it.
Right. So, wow.
Oh, it picks up now. It picks up now. It runs. The rest of the episodes are going to run right through.
Right. So next week, we are going to do episodes or chapters 3 and 4.
Now, we might record sooner than later next week.
Right. So if you're interested in watching the live show.
You want to do 2 episodes next week.
Here's the deal. I'm leaving for Texas on Wednesday, and I'm going to be gone through Saturday.
But what if we do chapter 3, and do 4 and 5 the week after that?
Because our graphic already says 3 and 4.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
No problem. We'll probably, here's the deal, y'all. We're either going to be live on Monday night or Tuesday night. Probably Tuesday night. Unless you want.
That's for me. Either one of the, probably give me another night to watch.
But the only, let's go ahead and say Tuesday night. Do you want to do 10 or 9 Eastern?
Let's shoot for 9. And if we're a few minutes late, we're a few minutes late.
Right. I mean, it's not like people are beating down the doors because we're a new show, you know. But if you want to watch us live, because we do record the show live, and it's on our website, stwdd.com, which used to be the same as strangerthings.com. But then we decided we wanted to take this even further. And like if we wanted to do another season of another show, we could. This is the show that we are going to do after Survivor is over. For now, it's going to be on Survivor off seasons, right? But then it's going to be our main show after Survivor is over in 10 years. Yeah, Probst is 70 years old. Is everybody ready? Go!
Dang,
but anyway.
You're great.
Right. So this show, as you know, because you got it on Saturday morning, was released on Saturday morning. Next week's show will be live on Tuesday night, but still won't get released until Saturday morning, right? The audio and the video, unless you're a D&D patron. And D&D patrons get any show we do immediately after I get it done. Like the video goes up right away on the Patreon site, right? But then later on that night, I go ahead and put up the audio on the Patreon site, which is Patreon is the website, but with Patreon, you get patrons, right? So and it goes up right away. And y'all listen, you could be a patron of D&D, which is me and David, and all of our podcasting for as little as $1 a month. Really? I mean, $2. But here's the deal. If you get $1, if you give us $1, we get like 40 cents of that. But if you give us $2, we literally get like $1.30 of it. So $2 is more effective, but then you can give as much as you want. But anyway, so if you're interested in becoming a D&D patron, just go to stwdd.com/patron, or you can just go to our website, scroll down a little bit, and there's this flippy thing. When you put your mouse over it, it flips around. That's another patron link, right? And the other flippy thing is Amazon, and we get a little bit of money if you shop Amazon using our link, and it doesn't cost you anything extra. So that's just a little bit. If you're enjoying D&D podcasting, whether it's Survivor Talk or Movie Talk, which I don't know if we'll do any more of those, but you also like Rewind Fast Forward with D&D, and you want to help out a little bit, that would be a great idea. So next week's show we'll record on Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, and it will be released on Saturday, just like this one was released on Saturday. So, David, you got anything else? Anything else before we sign off?
We don't have a feedback segment on the show, and we're not going to have a feedback segment on the show. But if you want to comment on the show, send us an email. We wouldn't mind reading it just to hear what your thoughts are. And if it's a theory or something that we want to share, we might share. But no promises on reading anything or sharing anything. Right. But we'd love to hear your thoughts on the show, what you think, or if we missed something, especially if we missed something. We'd love to hear that.
It would actually be a true feedback. You know, you'll be giving us feedback on what we did.
And we may just share one sentence of what you write us, but still, if we missed something, let us know what we missed.
Yeah. So
or if we got something wrong, which I'm sure we did not.
Oh gosh, but we don't even know what the title was referring to. So feel free.
Yeah.
No, look, if you made it this far, then you probably enjoyed the show, right? But
or you fell asleep listening to the show.
You fell asleep and you woke up. It's like, oh, they're still going.
They're still going.
Yeah. So anyway, but enjoy the show. We hope you do. We're going to keep doing it no matter what, because we enjoy talking about these things, and it's a lot of fun. So join our Facebook group at stwdd.com/Facebook, where that will get you hooked up. It's our Survivor Talk Facebook group, but it's still fun, right? And we'll start talking Stranger Things on it too, right? So, all right, y'all, that is all I've got. And if David doesn't have anything else, then we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show.
I'm good.
All right. See you, everybody.
See you.